Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right.
So, no sacks last game. Are you taking any steps in practice to try to improve sacks, and how do you expect to improve that?
Yeah, it's obviously something that we're trying to get. It's not like we're not trying to get them. It's our thing is pressure numbers, and that's really the big. And they'll come. We just have to continue to pressure the quarterback, and really. The big thing of that is pressure the quarterback, make him uncomfortable, throw the ball away. The third down numbers, the red zone, those type of things, the situational football. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Yes, we'd love to have 35 right now. But don't want the guys to press, and they come in bunches. It's like takeaways. Once you get one and you have a little success, and they just keep coming. So, well, I will say this: when you look at the overall body of work with the pressure numbers and the hits on the quarterback, they are there. And it has helped us get off the field, sped up the quarterback's rhythm, made him uncomfortable. So yes, we're working on it.
How key has it been that on third downs, the defense is able to stop them to a point where they're forcing field goals rather than allowing touchdowns?
That's one of the keys is hold everybody to a field goal that gets down there. We don't want them to get down there, but when we do, let's everybody pick it up a little bit more. And let's hold them to a field goal and give us a chance. And so that's been a conscious, red zone defense. Third downs in the red zone are crucial, because then, like you're saying, then you're holding them to a field goal instead of giving them another set of downs to try to score a touchdown. And really in the high red zone, our guys have done a good job of not letting them get that one extra set of downs to get into low red zone and take some shots on us. So, it helps out in everything, keeps points off the board right, gives us a chance to win. But that is the high red zone is a major emphasis, and our guys have done a good job of really understanding what the offense is, how they're trying to attack us, how do we defend those things, and ultimately hold them to a field goal and try to block it. So it's a huge part of kind of keeping points off the board and helping us defensively and as a team-wise win the game.
How pleased have you been with the third down performance overall, even outside the red zone?
Yes, it's been good. Obviously, just try to get it better, and that's our thing. If we can be 30%, well, let's be 25%. So on, and just keep improving those things. And you can see the guys having confidence. Our guys do a great job of studying the opponent. They do a great job of studying the plan, how we're going to be attacked, how we're going to play certain routes, protections, those type of things. The pressure plan, and then they do a really good job is understanding their job in how everything, and then working together. Like that's the big thing. We have a team mentality, team defense. Everybody has a job to do, and those guys really work. If secondary wise, they're not seeing a lot of targets to their guy. That's a good thing. Ball's going somewhere else, or we've disrupted the coverage with this manipulation of the safeties and making the quarterback go to somewhere else that he doesn't want to go with the football. So I think it's just a combination of everything. Been pleased up to this point, but continue to want to get better.
But the Commanders coming in on a 3-game losing streak, and they had a little bit extra rest time with that Thursday night game. Is that something y'all take into account in your preparation of a team that's really itching for a win?
Well, I think it goes back to, and Art said it, Coach said it the other day, and it's all about us. It's how we prepare and how we play. And that's been the philosophy and just the mentality of our guys of just preparing. It's about Atlanta. It's about the Falcons. It's about our offense, defense, special teams, and our team together. Yes, we're going to prepare for the next opponent. They're coming off a little bit more rest. Sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's not. It just kind of it's interesting. But yeah, we're expecting a hungry team that's going to give us everything. They're going to be ready to go. It's going to be a tough battle. So we are prepared for that. But ultimately, it's how we execute, how we think about the game, and how we go forward with that.
Yeah, Coach, just looking at those pressure numbers, we got 21 knockdowns and 23 or so hurries, but it looks like a lot of it's coming from the the tackles, Grady and David, how are they anchoring things for you in that pressure?
Yeah, they've done a good job. They've done a good job, and we've mixed some packages and had some 3 down out there 50% of the time or so. Don't know exactly how much 3 down, 4 down we've been playing, but it's around that number. And so those guys do a good job in terms of just the different alignments in their matchups, center guard, guard tackle. But they do a really good job of pushing, and then they do a good job interior of getting off. And Grady had a batted ball in a crucial situation. When they got stopped, they got their hands up, and we had a red zone batted ball and a 3rd down batted ball in critical situations in the game where they got stopped, they got their hand up and become a pass defender. So I think the combination of everything, and the great thing about they've been so positive and ready to go, and the energy this week that they've brought is it's contagious. And the room is, they feel, defensively they feel like we've been getting better every week, and so they're ready to go. And the energy, that it's the intensity and the passion that the meeting's been great. Practice yesterday was a pretty good practice, and so just let's get to get today better than it was yesterday, and those guys are leading the way doing that.
And off the edge, just looking at numbers, not film reviews. Elise, Bud, Katie, they're getting some activity on the edge.
Yeah. So we try to keep them fresh, keep a rotation going. Calais has played inside and outside, and he does a good job. And he's such a different rusher than a couple of the other guys that we feel like we got a good, fastball changeup type, rotation going on there. And so we'll continue to do that. You'll see this game, the difference in the rotation and the guys mixing around, just as we always do. Possibly a different look, maybe not, but we'll see on that on Sunday.
In the 3rd down numbers, I got 32.81, but Coach said, and that's 5th in the league, that the players have been able to do a lot because they're smarter players and not doing the same thing. How's that variety been able to, as a play caller, to have that type of variety week to week and put different stuff on film so nobody can stay ahead of your teams?
That's a great point, in that we do have smart players, and smart players that love football and really study the plan and the opponent together, because it's a combination. And so those guys get in there, they meet together, coaches out of the room, and they get together and they have their meetings. They'll watch 3rd down, they'll watch all the things that you have to do to have success. So they put the extra time in, and then being able to handle the volume that we have on 3rd down is pretty impressive. And that there are certain things that we carry to every game, but there's also things that we change every game. And so those guys being able to, hey, we're going to play this coverage or this front package, or just continue to change and like you said, keep the offense off balance and not always let them know what we're doing.
And I know you've been in New Orleans, you know how crazy that stadium can get. Are you seeing or hearing that on 3rd down that the Benz is getting a little louder and helping the defense out there?
We have the best stadium in the league. It's not even close. It's not even close. And when that dome was open last week, it got a little chilly in there, but it was awesome. I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. And so came out there and heard it may be open, and came out there, and you saw, it was such a beautiful day, and we're playing football outside. It was absolutely fantastic. Love it. Crowd has been awesome. All 3 home games. 3rd down particularly, there's been a couple of times where we've had to make a couple of calls so the guys can hear it, a little bit louder, or repeat a call, because the crowd has been so into the game. We've got a great crowd. Don't know if I've said that, but it's at the end of the last game, they got so loud in there, and you hear the guys, give them the, hey, one more time signal, because they couldn't hear, in the helmet, the call coming in. And so, when they're doing that, it's pretty dang loud, so it's awesome. The stadium is fantastic. It's a great game day atmosphere. Just everything about the environment with the crowd. Again, the dome was open last week, so it was fantastic. And then we have a smart crowd. They know what's going on. It's quiet on offense. It's loud on defense. You know, they're into the game, paying attention to everything that's going on, and feel very fortunate every time we go out there and the ball's kicked in there just to be here and a part of that, because that's not everywhere, and it's very cool.
Jesse's among the league leaders in interceptions. What do you think he's doing right there, and what do you think the rest of the defense can take from his play?
Sure, that's a good point. So with him, he does an excellent job of studying and knowing kind of what we're going to get on third down, first down, second down, you know, passing game, those type of things. Also, he does a really good job of emphasizing punch outs, you know, and causing fumbles, those type of things. And so it's a combination. You know, some guys have a knack of being around the football, and he's a player that he's always around the football. And even when he doesn't quite make the play, he's standing right by, you know, you're seeing some third downs, and he's there, he's around the ball. And so I think with the other guys is he brings a sense of confidence to the rest of the group, and that, you know, they're seeing how it's being done, and everybody's emulating or seeing it. And when you're around it, you know, it helps. You know, even at practice the other day, we had a couple of punch outs, and you're seeing that very similar thing that happened in the game that he did happen in practice the other day. So those guys are they're seeing it, and they're acting like, you know, that. But he does a really good job. And again, him studying the game, he's a student of the game and loves football, and so that really helps as well.
We've seen Nate Landman step up on the field, and Troy's absent. But how has he grown in these past few games outside of the field?
Sure, the confidence. You know, he's started 2 games. He's out there. He's making tackles, and he had a really great stop on third down, covering in man coverage. And there's just a level of confidence in his play when you see him out there, how he's moving and being one step ahead. He made a really nice play, and they put a receiver in the backfield last week on a sweep play, and he comes back and he makes the tackle for a 1-yard gain, and just his where he fits in the defense. And so you see, thought he played pretty good his first time, and then he played better this last game, and so now he's a little bit more confidence and you know, in his abilities to go out there and play. It's been great. Nate's been and, you know, another player that studies the game, studies the opponent, really where do I fit in the coverage and then in the run game, and how he really takes that as a challenge. And so that has increased in his play time, and you know how it goes. And but he's done a good job. It's fun to see him out there. He brings a level of physicality to our defense. You know, he's a thumper. You know, he brings it every time he goes to hit you. You know, full speed, those type of things. And you know, we continue to push Nate, but Nate pushes himself a lot too. You know, so that's a nice thing about him.
Anything else? Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Let's have a great day. Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Then we got D-Lad. What's up, D-Lad?
Hey,
Good?
not too much, Coach. Doing
Good.
pretty good.
You ready to go?
Yeah, I got some notes for you.
All right, then let's go.
Okay, well, I usually was doing the opening.
I'm gonna let you go. I didn't see you last week.
Just going over the Washington personnel. Gibson's back deep, but everybody's touching back, so we can put an X there. Crowder in the punt return game. How challenging will that be?
You know, he's a seasoned vet, been in the NFL for 9+ years out of Duke. He's had a career of doing punt returns, starting back, you know, when he was with Washington the first time. And I believe he had like a 80-something yard punt return for a touchdown versus Baltimore. He is dynamic with the ball in his hands. He's going to catch the ball in traffic. He's going to try to gain the first down or more first downs for the return units. Last week, Thursday night, he had a 20-yard return to help flip the field in a backed-up situation. So it's going to be a great challenge for us when it comes to us leveraging the football. It starts with Bradley and his punts, getting the ball where we want it, our coverage team being able to be connected with our punt direction, and then being able to go downfield and keep leverage on the football and making sure that we do a great job of eliminating him in the return game for Washington.
And the punters, Way and Slay, kicker.
Oh, yeah.
How do those two guys stack up?
So Joey Sly, the kicker, we went against him a couple of times with Washington, and even he's played for Carolina before as well. when he started off his career as a kicker for them. A strong leg guy when it comes to field goals and kickoffs. I believe he's 22 of 22 D-led when it comes to kickoffs for touchbacks. But he can't put hang time on the football for their coverage teams to go downfield and go cover. And then you talk about Tress Way. He's been doing it for a long time. He's been a Pro Bowler before, lefty punter. He can flip the field. He's great at directional punting. One of their leaders, if not their leader on special teams, when you talk about their core players and what they do, and it all starts with their special teams coordinator, Nate Katzer. He's been doing it for a long time. He has a history of his units playing hard, being physical, being sound with their technique, and not putting themselves in position to lose football games when it comes to flipping the field or gaining first downs in the return game. So we're excited for the opportunity this weekend versus Washington at home.
And how's Cordell doing back there with his decision making since he's gotten back to his kick return role?
He's doing a good job. You only get better reps. We have limited opportunities. On our first rep D-led, we could have did a better job of putting our offense in better field position. We don't want to go out there and start the first play of the game with the penalty and put our offense in not the optimal field position. So that's a challenge for us this week that we got to get better at. If we're going to take a returnable ball, we got to make sure that we're gaining first downs and getting that ball at least past the 25-yard line for our offense. And again, we're a direct correlation of our offense. D-led, when it talks about the first play on offense, that is the first play on offense for us, and we're excited to have CP back there. So whatever opportunities that we get, we're going to make sure going into this week we're going to be even more prepared for the opportunity and making sure that we do our job. And it's not just CP being the playmaker back there. It's the other 10 guys making sure that they're getting their blocks, getting at the right angles, right drop depth to make sure we get our blocks so we can get vertical with the football.
So that holding by Davis, I had to address that. Was it?
Yeah, of course. We address everything, whether it's a hold or if they don't call the hold. Our fundamentals will always be our edge when it comes to special teams, and no different in offense and defense. So does Tate want to get a holding penalty? No, but those are things that we could clean up. It's nothing special that the other team's doing. We can't win plays until we keep ourselves from losing those plays. And it starts with our individual techniques, our fundamentals, and our details. So we address any and everything, whether it's a good block, whether it's a bad block or a missed block. We address that in our meetings. And all 11 players on each and every play, those are things that we look at. And we're always looking for gradual growth and continued improvement.
And what do you say for the field goal kicking unit to, have the game on the line and go out and execute it?
Well, big credit to those guys. We talk about the operation with Liam and Bradley and Koo, and then we talk about our protection. Storm is a newer player. He's playing for us on field goal protection. We had somebody go down, so Drew stepped in those last 2 reps, our last 2 field goals in the game, and those guys never flinch. They're prepared for those opportunities. They understand, too, who's their go-to players on field goal block. They knew, 51 Anderson, he had a block a week or 2 ago versus Jacksonville. Those are guys that we're trying to ID to make sure when it's a gotta-have-it situation, which that was, that we got to make sure that we take care of those guys, we protect inside out, and we give Koo a clean area to work with so he could do his job and put the ball through the uprights. So I'm really proud of that unit.
At the end of the penalty, what was that? Because
they called
come over the top or?
Well, they called Arnold. He lined up offsides 25. He lined up offsides, pre-snap, and then he ran into the kicker.
Oh, okay.
So I give credit to Claes. He did a great job of widening the edge rusher, which makes his path more directly towards the kicker. And again, credit to those guys too, Koo, being focused and making sure that he's process driven, which he always is, and putting that ball through the uprights.
Arthur said that the offense didn't have to adjust whatsoever when Storm was in. Did you feel the same? Did you feel the same on special teams?
No, it's a next man up mentality, just like on offense and defense. On the practice field, we rep a lot of different guys when we talk about special teams. We rep everybody that is, whether on a practice squad or if they're on the 53-man roster. So we want to make sure as a coaching staff that we prepare those men with the opportunities before they present themselves. So when they get in the game, at least we could say, whether it's players or coaches, we provided them with the tools to go out there and be able to do their job, and not only do their job, but be able to execute and do it at the highest level possible. So those are things that we continue to improve on. Storm did a great job jumping in. I know he's newer to the team. we're very blessed to have him on the team. When you talk about the 53-man roster, and he fits in what we're doing as an organization. And then Drew Dahlman was the guy that jumped in for Caleb when Caleb went down, and Drew did a fabulous job. I mean, he's been on field goal since a rookie, and he's been off of it a little bit, but we didn't miss a beat when it came to our field goal protection, and I really appreciate those guys stepping in, particularly Drew stepping in and being able to help us in critical situations.
When you know you're going to face a lefty punter, do you use the machines a bit more in practice?
I was waiting for that. Yeah, Taryn. Yeah, so we have the ability to switch the machines and put them on a different rotation. So now it's a left foot rotation. The ball's going to spin now this way, which the ball tends to drift off to the punt returner's right. So we do work on that. You think it's nothing. It's a spiral punt. It's nothing different or end over end, but the rotation is a big difference when you talk about the punt return catch mechanics. Tressway does a great job of flipping the field, and he can punt the ball either way. So those little details and our guys understanding the type of rotation that's on the ball and what type of footballs we could get depending on where the ball's at in correlation to minus territory, plus territory, logo area is critical to our success. Now, we don't want to return every single punt. If there's a lot of bodies in the way, we want to call fair catch and make sure that, number one, our offense has the ball next play, and that we secure the football when catching it, and then making sure that we're not creating any traffic issues. And I think Mike Hughes has done a great job so far of making sure he's swinging at the right pitches, catch mechanics, and staying focused on the little details. Just like last week, he did a great job of catching the ball on, I think that was the very first punt return, and getting vertical and gaining that first down for our offense. And he continues to improve, and he's putting in the work each and every day, along with D. Alford and Scotty Miller and Bijan. Those guys are all working at it.
Out of curiosity, you know how there's like switch hitters? Have you ever had a switch punter who can like punt with both legs?
Not so far since I've been in the NFL, but I have seen that before, and that is pretty. I think there was a guy out of Kentucky a couple years ago named Max Duffy. He came out of Kentucky. I don't know what team he ended up playing for, but I remember him coming out, and he could rugby punt, roll out punt with the left or right foot.
What are the types of things y'all do in practice so that, when Caleb goes out, Drew can step in and storm too? Oh,
great question. I would say we always rep our substitutions. We don't wait till like the end of the week to rep that. So no different than, let's say tomorrow at practice, we'll put in, hey, let's say our snapper went down. Who's going to be the next person to snap the football? Hey, the right guard, hey, let's give this guy a couple of reps. Let's say Lindstrom or Newsel went down. Those are things we, every day at practice, we rep a bunch of different substitutions. One, so those guys can get those reps, and then two, the players that are playing next to them. Let's say there's a starter at one position and we put a backup right next to them. They get used to playing along each other and understanding how they play off each other. So those are things that we work. I'd rather put those guys in those situations at practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even on Saturday than wait till Sunday and wish and hope that it goes right. And it's a big credit to our players. They stay locked in during practice. They stay locked in the meetings, and they understand if a guy goes down or if there's like, hey, a shoelace broke or something happened, a buckle broke on their helmet, we put the next guy in. And those guys, I give a huge credit to our players. They do a great job of being locked in and staying in the present.
Anything else for Coach? Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
That was a joke. He didn't have a book.
No, that was good. Yeah, you stunned me on that one. I was like, I thought I was prepared for this, but I guess I wasn't.
So, had a breakthrough passing game. What was some of the reasons for that, and then how can you carry it forward and sustain it if you need to go that route again?
I mean, I think ultimately, right, each game, at times dictates the flow of the game and what you're doing offensively, and you're trying to make adjustments. Houston was doing a great job of overpopulating some of the things that we were doing, and we tried to take advantage of it in different ways. And it was great to see, guys with the ball in their hand making different things happen, like you just talked about with Keith. But again, we're going to go into each game and try to attack the defense as best as possible, regardless if it's run or pass. It's give our players the best advantage.
And the diversification, 11 different people were targeted, 10 different people caught catches, caught the ball. Was that by design?
I mean, I think ultimately when you put in passes, right, there's a primary, if coverage dictates, and then obviously the quarterback, if he doesn't like it for whatever reason, can move on. And what you saw in that game was the quarterback making convicted decisions quickly, moving on and getting the ball in different people's hands. And again, like I said before, it's great to see guys with the ball in their hands doing different things. Regardless of what that route or when the ball was thrown to them, you could just tell by the energy that was out there. Guys were feeding off in terms of just moving the ball. We need to score more points, obviously, but that was good to see.
And what are you seeing the worst to you? And we know about the front. You got jamming at the linebacker level, and Coach said Curl is a very good coverage safety.
Yeah, I mean, what I think you see a defense. A lot is talking about the front, and that's rightfully so. I mean, they're very, very good. This is the third year, and it goes back. Played them in a previous stop that I was at. Have a ton of respect for what they do. Coach Del Rio has been in this league a very long time. He has a great understanding how to attack offenses. You look at what they do up front. You look at how the linebackers match with the defensive line, and they're all in cohesion together. The secondary does a good job of trying to disguise the coverages. They play with their eyes. I was with, one of the Fullers at one point in my life, smart football players, and they understand route concepts. Our work will be cut out for us in terms of the secondary. They do a really good job of keeping their eyes on the ball and changing it up, the picture for the quarterback. So all three levels, like every week, but especially this week, all three levels are going to present a lot of issues for us, and we need to be able to fix them and find a way to move the ball.
And could you speak to the job that Storm Norton did on standby to get in there? And
yeah, I think it was great, right? I mean, Dee, you've been with me for a long time in these press conferences. We say it, we believe it. If you have a helmet on Sunday, there's a certain standard in which we believe we need to play at. And Storm went in there, just like other players, regardless of who's out there to start the game. Other players come in, there's no blink. They understand their responsibility. And again, that's what you go out there and you train and you practice for. Everybody out there can potentially be a starter regardless of what the personnel is. And if you treat practice that way and you get a chance whenever your name is called, usually good things potentially happen for you.
What does Van Jefferson add to the wide receiver room?
Well, I mean, obviously Van's a veteran. He's played in big games. He's a guy that, I've known that family a long time. Know the makeup, the character. And so what you're hoping to bring in, right, obviously mid-season, is a guy who comes in here, absorbs the offense, goes out an individual, and then takes it over to the practice, just bringing his own, his energy and the way he goes about and does his business. And ultimately it's competition. But yeah, for us to bring a veteran guy in, to go in there, get him in here, get him acclimated as fast as possible, and let him go out there and compete is basically the way you view things like that, and hopefully it rises everybody's competition level up. And you saw it yesterday. Guys were out there having fun, having energy. And again, I talked about that last week, which I know D-Led, you hung on the energy question, but to me, it's what it's about, right? You go out there and you grow up playing this game as a competitor. And the more you have a chance to go out there and compete, I think it rises your level as a player or a coach. And I think that's why guys, love being in this business, player or coach, as much as we do, is just the level of competition week in, week out.
Vajon noted how fast Van is at practice just yesterday. What stands out to you about him, like on the field, on the tape, and things like that? Yeah,
I mean, it's a little early, right? He just got here yesterday, flew right in, physical, all those other things. But, again, I'm observing from the outside in terms of his ability to pick up what we're doing. That's the best way to play fast is not to think, right? You know what you're doing. It becomes second nature. You go out there, you can execute. So as quickly as he can get himself acclimated and know what we're doing and going out there and just playing free, that's what you want to see. And, today will be another day for him. We have another install going in terms of the third down area. So he'll pick that up and go out there and compete, and expect anybody who's here, right, to learn it, go out there and compete and bring great energy.
It seemed like as things really clicked for him for the first time this season, and for the offense as a whole, what confidence does that give a young quarterback?
I think every game's different, right? I think if you look at the different parts of each game this year, there's things that we definitely can learn from. There's things that we can grow from. And there's things where I think you start to see your vision, your timing, all those things start to click. I think there's parts of the game, even in London, right, the second half, some of the decision-making, some of the way the ball was coming in his hand. And you go back to the previous week in Detroit and some of the things that happened there, and then obviously Green Bay and Carolina. And so there's going to be weeks, right? This week is a completely different challenge for us in terms of what the defense is going to present. But ultimately, it's just carrying everything forward to practice. You come out to a practice with a great attitude, with great energy, with focus, and it carries over, it bleeds over into the games. And that's what we want for not just the quarterback, but for the whole offense to continue that forward.
Can you discuss Johnny Smith's integration into the offense and his play thus far?
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's been a player that, obviously we were fortunate to get here in the offseason. Familiarity with obviously with Coach Smith and other players. What you love about him, what you love about that tight end room is the level in which they go out there and compete, and then they also push each other. And you got a good mix in there, right? You've got some veteran guys in there who play a lot of football in this league, and you got some younger players, right, who are obviously coming up and getting themselves established. But ultimately, what you love about that room is there's a fierce competitiveness and the way they go out there and they approach their job. And so you can feel it from that room, and it permeates to other rooms, but ultimately, he's part of that mix, and he's a guy who's played in big football games. He's a guy who can do a lot of different things for us. But I think that's what the whole tight end group, provides for us is the flexibility.
And Coach was talked a little bit about working Cordero back in. Where's that process at?
Yeah, I mean, that's one where, obviously Coach answered that for you. CP will answer that in terms of everything else. But for us, right, I mean, again, if he's out there on game day, just like I said with Storm, our ability to count on him, the standard. CP's shown to do it over the course of not just his Falcons career, but his previous stops. Obviously CP and I go back a long time. I think I have a pretty good feel for where he is physically, mentally, and again, I've got a ton of appreciation for how he approaches things.
What about Storm do you like as an offensive lineman when y'all brought him in?
Well, I think, you've got a veteran guy who comes in who has experience, who comes in and from day one just worked. And I think that's really what you love about the offensive line group, the offensive line coaches. There's a certain mentality in which they go about their business, certain standard in there. He seemed to fit right in. And again, I think that's more a credit to the coaches and the players in that room and how he went about his business. And again, he had an opportunity and he showed what he could do.
Anything else? All right.
We good?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.